Tropeaholics, and welcome back to another video. Today I am bringing you another trope talk. In my trope talk videos, I of course talk about tropes. I know that tropes a lot of the time are deemed spoilers by a lot of people, so it seemed quite sensible to me to be doing separate videos where I talk about the tropes instead of mentioning them in my reviews or vlogs, etc., where then it could spoil things for other people. So today we're going to be talking about some books that have a chosen one trope in some way, shape or form, and including some misconceptions, in my opinion, about the series, and then also the way that modern iterations of the trope have changed over the years. We're going to start with the elephant in the room, and that is The Lord of the Rings. A lot of people deem this a chosen one trope because of Frodo with the ring. And while Frodo did a very good job of handling the ring, I don't at any point feel like Frodo is the chosen one. Frodo is basically, for me, a happy coincidence. Frodo is the one who managed to accomplish the task. But there is no prophecy around Frodo. There is no pre-existing information that would dictate that Frodo specifically should be the one to accomplish the task. So while it has a vibe of it, of Frodo is the only one that's managed to accomplish the task, it doesn't, to me, feel like a chosen one trope. I think a lot of books that are quite similar in tone and in setup to The Lord of the Rings have a similar thing, where we have, for example, the Shannara Chronicles, the Riftwar Saga, or the Memory, Sorrow and Thorn series, all of which have very much a similar setup, and I don't feel like any of those either are technically chosen ones. Another one would be Eragon, where we have characters who are somewhat randomly selected, who happen to be able to accomplish the task due to their personality, due to their upbringing, or just their personal fortitude, as opposed to any kind of predestined track that they're supposed to be on. However, some examples that I have here, I have 3 books that tackle the chosen one trope in a way that I find exciting, and also one that is on my TBR that I would also be very excited to get to, as I hear also handles the chosen one trope in a unique way. The first one I'm going to talk about is the Fitz and the Fool books, specifically within the realm of the Eldlings. We have 3 trilogies surrounding Fitz. We have the Farseer trilogy, the Tawny Man trilogy, and the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, and all of which feature Fitz and the Fool. This would be a spoiler to talk about, so I'm not going to, but there is a prophecy around the prophet and the catalyst. So the one who prophesizes what is going to happen then needs to find their catalyst, which is the person who will take on the prophecy and actually have to complete it. Now, within this, I think it's fascinating, and I think that it's done in a way that I really enjoyed, because it's not from the get-go, it's not the first thing that you learn about the character who is prophesized that they are prophesized. It's not like the only important thing about this character and therefore they are infallible is because of this. You also have this character constantly questioning this prophecy and the validity of this prophecy. So whether its existence is actually a thing, and then whether he is actually the catalyst for it. So there is a lot of talk around prophecy and destiny within this series, and I really loved the way that it was executed, because it didn't feel like a MacGuffin or like plot armor. It felt like the opposite. It felt like, how is it going to even slightly be possible for this to happen due to this? Like, how are we ever going to get there? As opposed to like, oh, well, of course that will happen because he's the chosen one. It didn't feel like that at all, and I really did appreciate that about this series. One where I love the idea of the chosen one-esque prophecy is the Chorus of Dragons series by Jen Lyons, because we have our protagonist Kieran, who is prophesized, but it is unsure if he is prophesized to destroy the world or save the world. He is sought after by every race, by dragons, by this elf-like race of people, by kings. Everyone wants Kieran because he is at the center of this prophecy. But again, it even says on the back, and maybe Kieran isn't even the hero, for he's not destined to save the Empire, he's destined to destroy it. But does that mean he's destined to destroy the world or just the Empire? What does it mean? And I love the way that this kind of flips across the series of whether or not he's tearing down the Empire for its tyranny, or whether he's destroying the world. I love the way that that's played, but also it's not so pivotal that it's the only thing that's important. It doesn't mean that Kieran is the only important thing in the whole series. It's part of why Kieran is one of the protagonists of the series. And I really appreciated that, because a lot of the time with Chosen Ones, and you're only following this one character who then has to become everything that was prophesied for them. In this case, it was just, he is prophesied to destroy the Empire. What does that mean? It asks more questions than give answers. And I'm really appreciative of the way that Jen Lyons tackled that. And the last one that I have on here is the Faithful and the Fallen series by John Gwynne. This is one where you have, similar to the setup that Tolkien has, you have a force of light and a force of dark, and we also discuss a lot of the grey area in the middle. But each side of this coin have a avatar, for want of a better word. One is the bright star and one is the black sun. So for the light, there is the bright star, and for the dark, there is the black sun. And we are following multiple characters. It becomes quite clear which two are the avatar quite early on, but the whole book is trying to make you figure out which one is which one is the bright star and which one is the black sun. And you have those who are so confident in who they think the bright sun is, and the way that they will then convene around this person, and the way that then they will latch on to this person in a way that then cultivates a certain environment. And I really appreciated that, because it also then had religious connotations, discussions around the way we revere people and the way that we hero worship people, and it fomented so many interesting conversations around the trope. And I think that this did a really good job of bridging classic fantasy and paying respect to classic fantasy, the likes of Wheel of Time, for example, and also promoting newer changes and modernizing pre-existing trope. And I really appreciated that. And the series that I would be very interested in trying, based on the way I like prophesized Chosen Ones to happen, is the Art of Destiny series by Wesley II. This is one that is supposed to be a subversion of the prophecy trope, because we have this kid who has been prophesized his whole life to be the chosen one. So then when his big moment comes to go defeat this big bad, someone else does it. And now he's purposeless, and he's been pampered his whole life and doesn't know what to do with himself. And I am very excited to see how that is handled, because obviously its entire conversation is, I imagine, to parallel the way that we believe that we all have, like a lot of Westerners believe that we have a purpose and that we are supposed to fulfill that destiny or fulfill that purpose, and that our lives are only valuable if we are doing something purposeful. So I really am excited to see how that series pans out. So that is definitely one that is on my TBR for this purpose. But there you have it. Those are some books that talk about chosen ones and chosen one tropes, and why I like modern iterations more than older ones. And yeah, let me know of any other books with like prophesized chosen ones that you really enjoy and that you think I would enjoy. Leave them in the comments down below, and let me know if you've read any of these and your thoughts on them and the way they handle the trope. And that is all from me for today. So thank you ever so much for watching, and I will hopefully catch you in another one soon. Bye!